Welcome, ladies. Welcome back to another episode of She Who Rises Up podcast, where two women committed to the path of love, evolution, and surrendered to the great mystery of life reshare our latest life experiences, personal lessons, and insights. And here we are, for another episode with my dear friend Gemma. How are you, Gemma?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good. Very good, actually.
Tell me a little bit more?
I'm just really happy to be here recording this with you. That's all. Yeah, it makes me very happy. It reminds me, we were talking earlier about this post that I posted today in social media, and I realized looking at astrology that by being Taurus, I really enjoy working, and it gives me lots of pleasure. So yeah, that's it. Just being here with you, doing this lovely piece of work, it
Yeah,
makes me very joyful.
absolutely. And also there's so much goodness in the pre-conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we have the when at least I get on the conversation thinking that it's going to be like a 10 minutes catch up before we start recording, but
Yeah.
it never is the case.
Yeah.
And that's when the most delicious conversations also happen. So
Yeah, it is. That's the good stuff. This is what you're gonna get now. It's not gonna be good.
no, it still is good. No, it still is good. But it's true but don't you think there is, I don't know, is it a little pressure or knowing that now we're
Mhm.
recording, now we're
Yeah, yeah,
podcasting,
yeah.
you know?
There's something, because it's true that the energy changes. It's not the same.
Yeah, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
the same, it's not the
Maybe
same.
we're more relaxed, less conscious. There's nobody listening, just you and me. I don't know.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So today, what shall we focus on?
Well, I like to talk about presence a
Mhm.
little bit,
Oh,
unless you
let's
want
go.
to start with something else.
Oh, let's go.
Well, we recorded this podcast a few days ago, and unfortunately, the sound didn't behave that well, and we couldn't publish it. So we're doing this today again, and it was a pity because I was really happy with the result. Our energy was really lovely, really nurturing, very peaceful, very harmonious. And I felt a bit, no, why is that? Why is not going to go out? And then I took it in, like I always do, and I realized that as part of my evolution, I'm becoming communicating in a different way. I'm going to take it back to astrology because I've been studying the ascendant. My ascendant is in Gemini, and Gemini is telling me go out into the world, share with the world, but do it in a very spontaneous way. You have to do it in a playful way, and I want you to be, yeah, playful. Do many things at the same time. You have the power to communicate with any kind of people, and take life. Um, yeah, joyfully. So that's when I realized, okay, well, in that podcast that we didn't record properly, I was being my old me, the loving, the nurturing, and that was coming out from a part of me that I'm maturing. And it's not that it's not going to be there, of course not. And I don't want that part to go, but I want it to be matured. So my communication is going to be, it has to be different. So that's why. And then going even further about the subject that we talked in that chapter that we didn't publish, we talked about present. One of the things we talked was the presence, the actually being present in your body, in you, in your soul. So if I had been fully present, maybe I would have not um, thought that way. I would have known that my evolution was taking me to speak in a different way, or maybe I have to realize that day so that came out in a different way. But anyway, it takes me, regardless of the circumstances, to the presence, how important it is for us this day, especially for us women, to be into our body, to be sensual beings, to be sensitive beings that are connected to what our bodies want to tell us, to be more spontaneous and more freely in the way we come out to the world, and that is, to me, being present, just being in the moment with whatever wants to come out through you without thinking too much about it. So that's it. And I remember talking about that the other day. It was taking into the back to basics, how important it is to have the foundations right. Because I remember in the conversation, I was feeling a bit silly. Come on, I'm telling people to go present, or to breathe, to go back into the body. That's basics, right? But we forget the basics, and it's important to have the foundation right and go back to it, and evolve it as we go along, I feel.
I totally get what you're saying. I totally feel it as well, because back to basics, in the same way that in business, how many times when you're in corporate, when I was in corporate, we've used the term, let's go back to basics, as a way to improve the service that was provided and also to pivot, right? So it's a foundation. So that's why it becomes very important, right? So I would like to jump on and continue, rather than jump, continue this conversation, the body conversation, because it was very interesting as well that since we recorded the episode the other day and today, this time that has gone by, I was able to expose get exposed to brand new information, all related to the body. So I wonder as well if that is information that we're also supposed to rely and also share with our beautiful sisters here. Uh, excuse me. And one of the things that, well, I'm premenstrual right now, right? And so being premenstrual, it means that I'm in my most activist, in my most cutthroat. I'm very edgy, very edgy. So I acknowledge that. So I'm having to breathe like 10 times, and through whatever that I'm going through. Anyways, one of the things that I learned the other day, it's the work of a very reputable scientist, a doctor here based in Spain, um, that specializes in gender medicine, gender as in taking into consideration the very personal and specific needs of women, right? Now, it might mean other things, but that is what I understood from my perspective. And she was sharing how there was a study done at a hospital here in Spain, where a doctor took it upon herself to do a specific study, um, and the contraindication of a specific medicine, and how out of 10 people that came with adverse reaction to that medicine, out of every 10 people that came, from every 10 people, 9 were women, right? So the question mark was what's going on here, right? And this doctor, this eminence of a doctor, was saying that a lot of the medication, her name is Carmen Valls. If anybody's interested, I'm happy, to share the details. Or we could actually, better, we could share them in the descriptions of the podcast, if anybody want to investigate further. And she was saying how a lot of medication should not even be given to women, or given in different dosages, right? Which uh, which which highlights the importance of taking care of our bodies
Yeah.
even more. But this time, actually, I am pissed. I have to say, I'm pissed that I'm having to take care of my body from that perspective,
Yeah.
because on one side, the system to be is not taking me, not as Lara, but the feminine women into consideration. And of course, what I was thinking is that on one side we have the workplace that has been designed with um, a more masculine approach to doing things, not honoring our cyclicity and our cyclic nature, right? So then I am having to work with in that energy, which I've become very good at, but I really believe that is coming what to call at a cost, and the cost is my well-being and my health and well-being. So then I go to the establishment because I'm over I'm stressed. I've got overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I'm whatever is happening in my world. And then I go to this establishment, and the establishment, they're not even considering overall, I'm talking generally speaking, of course, here. My is not considering my gender. So I'm like, wow. But then on the other side, it becomes very empowering, right? To say, oh wow. It's like, okay, yeah, yeah. It pisses me off having to live this having to go through this for us as women. But on the other side, what a beautiful opportunity as well, and what for us to take care of ourselves as well, you know, from a body perspective. And myself going through premenopause right now, that and I did in the past did publish a couple of episodes on premenopause, and I have to say that I'm doing very well overall. You know, I'm doing very
Yeah.
well. And I remember taking my own medicine to sit with the symptoms of premenopause. And I
Yeah.
sit with those symptoms, and I'm like, okay, let's take grounded action. You know, because we could have all these spiritual thoughts, we could have all these spiritual wisdom, but then if it's not coupled with action, inspired action, then there's no balance there, right? So we need
Yeah.
the action, and I took action, and I'm doing very well so far, right? The symptoms might change in the future, maybe new ones might show up. I understand and acknowledge all that. But in comparison to this time last year, where I was really deeply suffering on so many levels, I mean, I'm very, very happy with the result. I'm feeling more focused. I'm feeling my energy. My goodness, bless this energy that is helping me as well sustain and holding space for others, right? And
Yeah.
my mood changed. Oh, and this is going back to basics, right? So I'm
Yeah.
literally the whole thing to go back to the basics in
To
our
go back to basics.
conversation. Going back to basics is, in my case, in this case, particular case, how is my nutrition? How is my movement? How am I taking care of my heart? How am I taking care of my mind? How am I taking care of my sleep and my rest, right? It's really the basics, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
it's
went,
definitely back, definitely
yeah,
back to basics. It happens to me as well today. I wasn't feeling that well. I'm not premenstrual. I'm premenopausal for I've been for a year, or I don't know how long for. No, more than a year.
more than a year, because I
More
think
than a year now.
you're towards the end of your
Towards the end.
premenopause. Yeah, yeah, you are towards the
Yeah,
end.
because I had my last period in April, was it last year?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
So
just a
in
few
April,
months that I'm.
in May, we're gonna have a big party, baby.
Yes, that's gonna be my party. Yes, yes, yes. New life. So, what was I saying? I don't remember. It doesn't matter because we had to talk about premenopause, so that's okay. That's okay.
It's
I'm happy to
premenopause in
sacrifice
action.
whatever I want to say. Yeah, I remember going back to basics. Today I got back from the gym, and suddenly a thought came, something that I saw on the internet. I fall into a little bit of poor little me and got engaged in a thought that I shouldn't have. But because we know how to go back to basics and take care of ourselves, it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take me weeks or days or months to see that I was engaging with a thought that I was imagining, and I was creating my own story in my head and creating a scenario that hasn't got anything to do with reality. So now I know that I get hold of of myself, and I get to work, for example, and I got the sage and I smooch myself, whatever, but just come out of that. And then I saw my friend Lara, and everything obviously went away because she's such a happy, joyful person. But anyway, that's back to basics again, going back to basics, going back to the simple things that we can do to look after ourselves every single moment. Because from one moment to the next, I was sad. After coming to the gym, I was so happy, so full of energy. And that's just one little thought from something you see on Facebook, and everything goes pear-shaped. So it's up to you if you want to go into victimhood or take charge of your life, take responsibility for your emotions, your feelings, and do something about it. So
Yeah, I love what you said as well. Very important, because I love one of the words that there are a few words that I am very connecting with. Peace
mm,
being one of them.
mm,
And another one is commitment. And you've said that I am here, but I might be somewhere else in the next minute. And
mm,
I feel that when I am committed to my well-being, I am committed to my well-being, that's the best word that's coming to
mhm,
mind, then it means that I'm doing my best, knowing that my best is not the same every day. In fact, it's not
mm,
even the same, you know, no, sometimes in the morning it's
mhm.
to the afternoon, right? So the word commitment, I feel
Yeah,
it feels better on my nervous system. If I was to compare it to the word consistent, right? Let's be consistent. Let's be consistent. Be consistent. Like, for example, I've
mhm,
lost a lot of weight
mhm,
at the back of this commitment that I have to my well-being and the work that I'm doing with the beautiful coach. That it's extraordinary. What a beautiful woman. And but have I been consistent? No, I haven't. But have I been committed? Oh my God, Gemma,
yeah,
I've been waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the
yeah,
gym
yeah, yeah,
before work. It's like,
yeah,
oh, since when?
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
since when? But it was my commitment. Did I
Yes.
work out the day that came from a full day of commitment? No, I didn't, because my body needed rest.
Mm,
So it's about knowing as well, but that commitment
yeah,
knows how to drive you rather than consistency. I love what Lisa Lister says. She's a beautiful author, specializing in cyclic living. And she says that if anything, women are consistent being consistent.
there you go. Exactly. Because we're cyclical, right? You know more about that than anyone else I know.
Exactly.
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 I
We
love
are
that.
consistently
I love that.
inconsistent. Mm.
I love that because even the word consistency, I feel it in my body, it contracts a little. So it puts a bit of pressure on you. But commitment, it doesn't, because I'm doing it because I love myself, because I want to better myself or be healthier, whatever. So I'm committed, and it doesn't mean that I have to go to the gym every single day. My aim is to go every single day. But for example, last week, I was feeling very tired for a couple of days, and I wanted to go to the gym, but my body was saying, we need to rest a little. Just take it easy for a couple of days, maybe for a day. So I took it for a day. The next day, I decided not to go either. And then today, Monday, I went back to the gym full of energy and really, really, really recovered. So the presence of being aware of the body and what is asking you to do, what is telling you to do, and that awareness of you and that self-love combined, because that's what gives you the commitment, right? Your self-love for you. I think it's a very powerful tool, those two things.
Powerful, it's powerful, Gemma. It's powerful. Look, it was during last year that is when I finally understood about the concept of your body being a temple.
Oh,
My
yeah.
body is a temple. What does that mean, my body being a temple, right? I finally understood what it meant after all these years of neglect and abusing my body and putting so
Yeah.
much pressure onto my body, and understanding that it's the home of my soul, right? And that is where the fraction of my soul chose to live and yeah, and be in. So during ceremonies that I've had last year, during a pilgrimage that I've had last year, all that was pointing out towards come back to the body, come back to the body. I'm like, wow, something as simple as the body, as simple, quote unquote, as the
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
right? As the body. What is the body? Who are you, dear body?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
are you really?
Mm, mm,
Um,
mm.
it was very interesting as well that I love Mother Mary. I love Mother
Oh,
Mary, and maybe one day we could talk about this, or maybe not. It doesn't matter. But this is a found love, and I was following the work of a lady who specializes in Mother Mary work, and she was saying how one of the initiations that she's doing with a group of women that they're working with is through the senses.
yeah.
And I remember in our podcast, the attempted podcast last
Yes,
week, we were talking about the senses,
we
right?
did. Yes.
As portals as well, the eyesight, the hearing, the taste, the smell, so and then I remember listening to this woman saying that. I'm like, oh wow, it's like we are on the right track here. you know,
Yeah.
as in as things as simple, quote unquote, simple as the senses that are portals to give up to opportunities for us to
Yes,
sit with
yes, yes.
ourselves, I guess, right?
Yeah, I love that because listening to you, it occurred to me that answering to that question, what's the body? Who are you? I'm going to give a very, very crazy answer here, but what came to me is that the body is a spaceship. A spaceship. It's a spacesuit, and I, being my soul, I'm traveling the universe, and now I'm wearing this. So this, or navigating this spaceship to be in this planet. So all the senses that you were talking about, Lara, are the ways that I interact with the reality out there through my eyes, through my touch, so I can sense whatever it is that is outside and get that information that I can then translate into something different. So how important is the body? Is my freaking vehicle. Without it, I cannot be in this reality. That's how important it is. So that's why it's a temple, because it's the home of the beat of the consciousness of the soul that we are.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that so much. And I recall saying something similar as well last in the other episode, where that one of our duties, in fact, if we consider our bodies to be temples, especially for the sisters that are walking the priestess path or the path of love or the path of consciousness, doesn't matter the word, the word that you're using, is what if I'm the priestess of this
Mhm,
temple? That's why I need to
mhm,
take care of this temple. I need
mm,
to make offerings to this temple. I need to keep that inner flame alive as well, right?
mm,
So
mm.
and the thought that was coming to mind is like, what if my temple, and this has been inspired as well by the monastery experience I had in summer, that what if my body is a walking prayer, is an offering in service to my life on earth,
Wow.
right? Without it,
Yeah.
my soul can't function, right? We
No,
can't
it
function.
can't. It can't. And that's what we also got wrong. I think thanks to the new age, we did lots of good things, but also confused us a little bit because I used to neglect the body for different reasons. But then when I got into spirituality and consciousness, I kept neglecting the body because I had to be in cloud number 9 with the angels and the ascended masters. And the body was just, oh my God, the body is just very 3D. No love and light. No, all the things about the body were um rubbish. And that's completely wrong. That's completely wrong. It's totally the opposite for the reasons we said earlier, right?
Amen to that. Amen to that. Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely, you're right. If anything, to take care, to have an integrated, conscious, healthy relationship with our body, especially us women as well, with our cyclicity and what it means to be a woman, that is the spiritual path itself.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah. That is the spiritual path itself. Yeah. Yeah. Back to basics once again. The
Back to
freaking
basics.
body.
But
Freaking body.
I,
Looking after the body.
But we talked about it, I think, 2, 3 episodes ago, that sometimes we go so outwards. Like, let me climb the Himalaya, let me climb
Yeah. Yeah.
Kilimanjaro, let me go to India, let me,
Hmm.
looking for those big experiences, mystical experiences. Well, actually, hey, come back to you.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah.
local than we think,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
can't be more local than your own body.
Yeah, exactly. And anyway, to go to those places, you need to take your body with you.
Mm.
So, I mean, if you go from south of England to the north, you probably get the car to the mechanic, have it looked at, get the tires right. But do we do it to ourselves? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What's the difference? It's even more important to look after the body, right?
Absolutely. And it's even more important as well, if I was to bring it up as well to the early part of the conversation, where we know from a medical scientific perspective, although there are some improvement, but we nowhere near how the women and our cyclicity has been honored and being taken care of, which, if anything, that has given me an extra push and an extra. It's not like I needed reason, but it's almost like another reason, if I may say,
Mm.
to look after my body, knowing that um, yeah, um, I was going to say something quite radical. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to leave it here. But let's take care of ourselves, basically.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that's
So
exactly.
what other ways of taking care of the body are there? Because we talked about present, we talk about being aware of the emotions and feelings, obviously diet, exercise, there's lots of
Yeah,
information out there about that one, but what else? What else we can do, especially as women,
yeah.
to look after really our bodies?
Yeah, well, diet and exercise, about something else as well, right? I mean, when it comes to exercising, I understand that there are two types of exercises. We have the
Hmm.
fire driven exercises, the ones that, for example, you do and I do every day, when we work out. But then we have the water driven exercise, and that's when we allow our bodies to free flow and express itself in a more creative way. And I personally find that to be I mean, I've cried every time I've done a session like that. It's not because it was so beautiful, my dancing. No, it's because I released energy through that dance. So dancing becomes very important. I love anointing myself, for example. These are some things I love doing. All
Yeah.
right. I love anointing myself. I love anointing my room. I have different I mean, I take it to such level that I have different oils depending on where I am on my cycle, for example, right? So that connection, breast massages, what a beautiful way as well to do, to honor as well as an extension of your heart, and that part of our bodies that has the capacity to produce nourishment, right? So how am I nourishing myself? So there are practices from that perspective, or even I mean, because I love ritualizing the shit out of everything, you know. So even brushing the teeth become a ritual. Yeah, I love ritualizing everything. So we've got breath work as well, of course. We've got massages are so beautiful as well. Massages, let's not underestimate the power of massages as only to relax ourselves. As what a wonderful way to move energies, in fact, through a qualified person who's also connected and integrated and know what they're doing. So yeah, there's I think it can be creative.
Mm,
Can be creative as some things might cost a little bit of money, some things are free, like sunshine, for example, like
mm,
every day, because I'm in Madrid right now. So we have the luxury most days of having sunlight. And what I do is, my dog and I, my Yorkie, she loves it, as well, sunbathing. And, I say, hey, shall we sunbathe? So I sit on the chair, she comes, sits on me, and both of us sunbathe for about 5 to 10 minutes. That is medicine. That is free. Walking is free. Breathing
yeah.
is free. There's just so much, that's free. That could help us as well. And let me be a little bit more radical now. Okay, let's be a little bit more radical. It's about, when I say radical, this is about us taking care of our hormones,
Hmm.
food that nourishes our hormones, um, being very mindful of our products. What cleaning products am I using? What beauty products am I using? I'm going to start, or I read. No, I'm going to start. I mean, I'm sharing it to the sisters if you want to take that as well. I personally read the ingredients of everything. If there are certain ingredients, for me, is a no-no. You know,
Hmm.
the um, so be very mindful of toxic products. Yeah, both from a cleaning perspective, from beauty, from yeah. So if anything, can I remove all toxicity? No, I can't. But can I minimize it? Whatever's in my hand, of course, I will minimize it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, whatever we can do. Yeah, it's not good to get too obsessive about it either, because then you take the joy out of it. And I've done it. When I used to be a vegan, I took it to the extreme, and I was looking at labels and things, and my food intake was more and more restricted. And really, one day I remember being in a supermarket looking at biscuits and looking at all the ingredients, and couldn't find a biscuit that was suitable for me back then. And I spent 30 minutes looking at biscuit labels, and then I realized the absurdity of it. What was I doing with my time? and then I stopped doing it. So yeah, don't become too obsessed, but yeah, always finding a balance. And
I
I
think,
think it's
yeah, balance. Exactly.
a
That's the word,
balance.
balance, right?
That's
That's
the
thing.
word. Yeah.
It might take a little bit of time to investigate. Like, for example,
Yeah.
I have my almond milk that I drink in the UK. That is the purest almond milk. Is based on almond, water, and salt. This is it. These are the three
Mhm,
ingredients of the almond
mhm.
milk. Well, guess what? It's all the other brands, they might have all the ingredients in there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a bit like
Mm, mm,
it's a bit off. So now in Spain, it's like I don't have that brand. So I'm having to research another brand.
mm,
So it took me a little while to, just a bit of
mhm,
investigation until I found my brand. But it's also true that yeah, balance is going to be important as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I do tend to more the extremes. It's also
Mm,
true that if I decide this is it, I'm going full on with something, I'll go full on with it.
mm,
I also acknowledge that maybe for certain things, it might not be the right thing, or maybe yes, I
mm,
don't know. So each
mm.
one could decide what's best for them.
Yeah, exactly. Each one can decide. We can say we can talk about our experiences, but then everyone that's the good thing about reading the body, that whatever resonates with you, it can inspire you, and whatever it doesn't, it doesn't. But one factor I would take in as well is whatever gives you joy. And taking back to again to astrology, there is a planet called Venus. Venus is the archetype of Aphrodite. How do you enjoy life? How do you share love? How do you express love? How do you make money? How do you enjoy really yourself? And most of us don't have that planet, that archetype activated within us. And it's a shame, because that means they've told us that enjoying ourselves is no good, probably. And also, it depends on where it is on your natal chart, on what sign it falls. You will enjoy certain things or another. For example, my Venus is in Aries, the sign of Aries. And before knowing astrology, I would have never known what I know now. I've always been overweight. I hated exercise with a passion. But now I know that my Venus loves exercise. It's actually in a sign of fire, and it needs not only exercise but really heavy exercise, like CrossFit. So I got into CrossFit classes, and I cannot believe to the day today, after 6 months of doing it every day, mostly, how much I love it. Especially the part where we do weightlifting. I actually love it. It gives me so much pleasure that it's not orgasmic, but almost. It really is. Um, so that gives me pleasure now. Everything that I've been avoiding all my life, and it's actually something that my Venus, that energy within me, the archetype of joy, enjoys doing. So it's great. It's great to know where your Venus fall in and get familiar with it. Because if you don't know really what you like, because we don't know sometimes what we like, we don't know, right? So that might help. I know, for example, I'm not really that keen on massages myself. Being a Taurus, I'm not really that keen. But you love them,
I
so
love them. You
you
see.
love them. So it also depends of what you like and what you enjoy doing. How you
This
look
is a
after your
great
body.
point. This is a great point because I remember you sending me. Thank you for this reminder. You sending me a video on how Venus expresses itself depending on where you when it's on your
Mm-hmm.
chart, and as far actually I'm going to watch this because my intention was to understand the different ways in which the feminine expresses itself,
Yes, exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it's a lot about, again, the
Yeah.
massages and beauty. I mean, I'm a big
Mm.
fan of creating beauty. And for you, you see, it was through strength.
Yeah. There
It's
you
like
go.
you
Yes.
could say, it's like, well, had
Yeah.
nothing to do one with the other, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, this is a great point. Great
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So, sisters, if for anything that I've shared earlier on resonate with you, we might have something in common. Our birth charts might be in common,
Yeah.
or or have your birth chart done. This woman is going to. When are you graduating, by the way?
Next year, March next
March.
year,
So when
hopefully.
will you be able to do our birth charts then?
From then, from
From
March
then, perfect.
onwards. Yeah,
Because
that's a
you are,
commitment.
it's a commitment. Look,
That's a
I get.
commitment.
I mean, that from the moment that you finish, the
Mm,
sisters that decide to do a one-to-one work, they,
Yeah.
and providing that they're open to this
Mm.
information, then I would love to involve them
Yeah.
to have their cards done, because I believe that, and
Mhm.
then we could go straight to the point there.
Yes, yes, I would love that, especially for we talk a lot of feminine energy here, masculine energy, which is represented by the planet Mars as well. We probably have heard about this book, Men Are for Mars and Women Are for Venus. That's because Venus represents the feminine energy we all have inside, and Mars the masculine. And women, most of us have our Mars um, not well positioned or somehow restricted. So it's very important to work on our Mars energy, which is the archetype of the masculine energy, to get it activated. But again, Mars will be in a place on your chart which is specific for you. So it's important to know how to activate that. So that would be another way of looking after ourselves, right? To really get to know ourselves using astrology, for example, or our menstrual cycle, for example. All those things, all that knowledge also get to know you more and get to know your body and what you like and what you don't like and what's for you and what not.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. I love it. Thank you. What shall we do?
Well, I would like to recap maybe on on what we talked, mainly for me to see what for my own sanity to see what I've been talking about. So we talked about presence, looking after the body, menstrual cycles, right? A bit on astrology, um, the things that we like, the things that we can do to look after our body. That you gave a huge list of things where we can start. Um, yeah, I think it's very important for the days we are living right now, going on to 2025 is going to be a hell of a ride of a year. So many changes happening in the world, and the more we are in the body and conscious about what's going on around us and within us, the easier it will be to
Mm,
to move through it.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And then I'm going to follow your lead here. And my recap is the way that you take care of your body is different depending on on where you are, So for me, an aim is to have a healthy, grounded, integrated, and conscious relationship with my body, so that can express
Absolutely.
itself in a different way to different people, right?
Mm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful,
Thank you
beautiful.
so
The
much.
body's our temple, our spaceship, our castle, call it whatever you call, but you're the queen of it.
Finally, I'm a queen
Yes,
of my own castle.
that's it.
Anyways, I know that the conversation could continue, especially after this last
Oh, we can. We can
this last.
continue for,
But let's wrap it up then. Thank you so much, beloveds. Thank you for being with us. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. And if you want to reach out to us, you're very, very welcome. Until next time, see you all very soon. Bye bye.
See you all soon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lara.